Welcome guys. So in this lecture, let us see how can we automate Chrome browsers from the mobile. So I'm sure that most of us browse internet through mobile apps only, right? So we really don't go to the laptop and search for something. If we need anything very quick, we will quickly open our browsers from our mobile and start testing it. So in the 2021 analysis, it's like more than 50% of users are coming from mobile browsers than web browsers in the Google. So the need of testing of mobile browsers is increasing. Of course, the code base is same. Even if you load the website in through mobile Chrome browser or web Chrome browser, the backend code to render the website will not change. But you have to see if that browser is fitting, the website what you have is fitting correctly in your mobile browser or not. That's very important. Okay, so if you have a footer section in your website, and let's say if you are not able to access it on mobile browser properly, then that's a problem. So this is my website, and if people really struggle to come to the bottom from a mobile browser, then I would lose my audience, right? So we have to make sure that there is a proper testing, at least a high level regression is happening from mobile browsers as well. That's how most of the companies are now writing some tests for their mobile Chrome browsers or any other browsers which support on mobile. So in this section, we are going to see how to automate our test cases through the mobile browser. Okay, so through web browser, we have a lot of automation tools like Selenium, which can test for that. So for mobile browser, the only stable automation tool, which is Appium. So in the last few sections, we have keep on learning Appium on how to automate mobile apps. Okay, now in this section, we will see how to automate mobile browser, which is Chrome, using Appium. Okay, so for that, these are the step-by-step instructions you have to follow. First, you have to build desired capabilities, especially for mobile browser, just like how we have built these desired capabilities for mobile apps until last lecture. So if you are not aware of these desired capabilities, maybe you are not watching this course in the sequence, or you have missed my prerequisite YouTube video which explains how to set up Android, Appium, everything, and how to build desired capabilities. I would request you to watch them and come back, right? So we are directly focusing on start writing desired capabilities from this lecture. Okay, so first you build those desired capabilities, and you have to understand how to inspect and grab the browser locators. Okay, so you want to send some information in the edit fields and all. You just want to make sure that even in the browser, the locators are not changing. Okay, there is some misconception here, which I will explain when I talk this point, and we'll run the automated test directly once you have everything ready. And let's understand like how to scroll in the browsers. Okay, so there are some things which might not work, like Appium have touch events like tapping, everything. Those may not support in the browser. The only mobile gesture which support for browser is scrolling, like if you want to scroll to the bottom or top. So let's see these things, and that way you can get started. So first I will start with desired capabilities. Let me go back to my Eclipse, and we'll create a new class here, browse.java. Okay, so first let me initialize the Android driver. So it should be generic, so you have to clearly say that whatever we are seeing, it's an Android element. Okay, so move your cursor and import all the related packages. Right, so this is the first step. We did not initialize this driver object yet. We declared one variable, but this do not have life yet. So before that, I'll create object for my desired capabilities class. So you can say capabilities equals to new desired capabilities. Right. So let's import the package. Now the first capability what I want to set here is a device name. Okay, capabilities dot set capability, and you see here it gives a capability type and a value. Okay, so set capability mobile capability type dot, so what is the device name? So it's the device on which you want to run this automated test. Okay, so here the device name what I have is Rahul emulator 1. This is the my device name. Okay, so you can give the emulator name of your device, or if you are running on the real device, then you can give the real device name. It will be mostly like Android device if it is a real one. So right now I am working on this emulator and name of this is Rahul emulator 1. Okay, so that's why I gave those details. So as it is Android automation, we have to give automation name. So it's very simple. So this time automation name. So for Android you have to use a name of the automation which is UI automator 2. So this is the framework which will help you to perform automation testing on your Android. So Appium internally uses UI automator 2 framework to run your test cases. So this UI automator 2 is exposed by Android guys. Okay, it's their inbuilt testing tool. So Appium is taking the help of this inbuilt Android testing framework which is UI automator 2 to drive your automation execution. So that's why we clearly needs to tell that we are depending upon this framework for Android. So based upon that, Appium can understand and inject such kind of methods which can underlyingly use this framework. Right. And now we don't have any app to give the details because in this section we are purely testing a web mobile browser. Okay, so you have to tell which browser you want to automate dot, and it's like browser name. Okay, so what browser you need to work on? Chrome. So just give the Chrome browser. So earlier in the previous lectures we worked on automating Android apps. There we used to give like this dot app app and the app path, but in this case we are working on browser, right? Mobile browser. That's why I gave Chrome, and that's it. Now you can create object of this Android driver class. So you already initialize that variable, right? Driver equals to new Android driver. So basically you are creating object of this Android driver class. So this Android driver class take two arguments. One is the URL where your Appium server is listening, and the next one is the capabilities object. So you have capabilities object here, so I can paste it here. Right, so this object will have the knowledge of all the details what it has to automate. It's a device name, which automation, which is Android one, and the browser which it want to execute. Now here where we have to provide Appium URL. So Appium is ideally will listen at 4723 port. So when you start Appium server here, you can see that Appium in the bottom, Appium is started on 4723 port in your local system. Okay, so if you want to give the IP address of that, you just can't give that directly in Java. So you have to initialize a class called new URL, and in that URL class argument you have to pass the IP address of yours. So your local IP address can be identified like this, 127.0.1. So we have already seen these kind of desired capabilities in previous sections when we are dealing with Android apps. This is like just a revision of what we have learned. WD stands for WebDriver Hub. So this is your Appium server location. If you are not sure which port it is starting, go and start your Appium server and see the port number. So that's how you can match it. Okay. So that's it, guys. So we have successfully created driver object here with the help of capabilities. So before we continue with our execution, let's place this in one separate class so that we can reuse these capabilities every time when you write new automation test for your mobile browser. Okay, so this is not good that to repeat these steps every time when you create new mobile browser test. So instead, what I will do, I'll just create one more new class and I would call this as a base Chrome, something like that. And here I'll create one method, and in that method let's wrap all this data so that you can call that method name directly. So set method return type to void. For now let's return void, but later let's fix this. Let's copy all this code carefully. I'll cut it from here and in my base Chrome I'll paste it here, and at the end I will return this driver, because this is what we need, right? We need this driver object to drive all your mobile browser tests. Change method return type to Android driver element, because we are returning the driver which is the return type of this. So that's why we changed return type of this method as well. Okay, so if I want to call this method in every class, you have to create object of this class and then call this method with object dot method. So instead, if you make this method static, then you can directly call this method without creating object of the class. Okay, this is the basic of Java. Now go back to your test. So let's directly inherit our base class, which is a base Chrome, and now you see error is gone. So this method is actually returning you the driver, right? So driver equals to capabilities. So Android element is the return type. Perfect. So now you have successfully brought and inherited the driver object from your capabilities method. So what should we test now? This is important. So let me go back to my Chrome browser, and let's say I want to go to the website called rahulshettyacademy.com/Angular app demo. Okay, so this is how this page looks like in web browser, but I want to render this web page in mobile browser and do a quick validation. Okay, so for that you would have clicked this products, and then you want to verify if the third element in this product is DevOps. That is your validation. Okay, now so in web, if it is web automation in browser, you know that you can select this products and you can continue. So if you try to run same test in browsers, it might fail because you don't know how this web page renders in mobile view, right? So for that, what you can do, right click, inspect, and here initially it looks like this, but if you carefully observe, there is one toggle here. So focus on this. If you toggle this, then you can use this in a mobile view. Okay, so in mobile there is no products displaying here. There is one menu coming here, see, and you have options here. So basically you can choose any device name and it will show how this page renders on that device. It's a cool feature, right? So let's select iPhone X. This is how it loads in iPhone. So there is no products to click. You have to open this menu and you have to choose this products. So if you have same web automation test, that will not work here, right? Here the whole concept is different, the way it loads in the mobile browser. So now let's write a separate test for this. And now you might get a doubt like, how would I get object of it? It's again straightforward, guys. You can use the inspect here, and if you inspect on this, you will see the locators for this. Okay, but if you are in the normal mode, you won't get that hamburger menu and you will not able to get object of it. If you want to get object of it, first you should be able to toggle to that device view, and this is how you can toggle. And now you can happily go ahead and write objects for this. Here UI is actually not changed, it is actually stringed as per mobile view. If you go to iPad, then again it is little bit increasing, right? That's how modern websites are all developed. So basically all modern websites use Bootstrap CSS. So if you design for web, that is enough. If you open that in mobile, it will make sure that it perfectly fits in the mobile. And there is another type of websites. Now for example, crickbus.com. Okay, this is how it loads. But when you open this crickbus.com in mobile, the look will be different. Try to open crickbus.com from your mobile right now and see, you will get a website like this, m.crickbus.com. See, this is how it loads. Okay, mobile dot, you see, when you open that URL in your mobile, and the whole website is different here, and this website is different what you see. So these guys have completely different code base for rendering websites in the mobile. So here there is no separate code base, it's the same code base, but it got shrinked exactly to fit in the mobile. So you should carefully observe all these while automating. Okay, I'm explaining this because you should be understandable first, like how objects are varying from web to mobile, and if there is any separate code base, that all you have to speak with your developer when they say that go and start writing mobile tests. You should talk to them and see how our web pages render in the mobile browsers. Okay, with that information you can start working. If they say that we have separate website like this, m.crickbus.com, then you have to bring that URL in your browser so that you can go ahead and inspect objects. Okay, so all object inspection you can still do from web only, but while doing, make sure you inspect the way how it looks in a mobile. If you try to inspect here, then there is no point, because in mobile these three are not showing up. So that's why when you are trying to develop a test, first take that into separate mobile view, select any mobile here, and then you can start working. Our goal is to select these products and make sure the DevOps is displaying. Okay, so let's write automation test for it. The first thing what I need is I have to land on this web page, right? So I selected that URL, and now let's go back to our Appium test and say driver.get. So first this will hit this URL in your mobile browser. So this capabilities method will help you to launch Chrome browser. Okay, because we clearly gave that go and launch Chrome browser. So I hit this URL, and now my next goal is to select that hamburger menu. Okay. Alright, so looks like this is the HTML with which you can grab the object. So let me take CSS. We have a class called navbar -toggler. So we can use this CSS to identify that hamburger menu. Okay. So this is the class. Let's validate if that CSS is correct or not using the locator tools like crowpath and selector hub. Hit and enter. Perfect. It's validating, you see. So this is the right CSS. I hope you are aware of how to write XPath and CSS. If not, you can watch out my videos to figure out that. Find element by dot CSS selector. So I have to make a click on this, and this will open a products, right? When you select this, products will open, and next I have to click on this products. Okay, so we have anchor a tag and href attribute. So I will use regular expression here. Anchor a href attribute regular expression star equals to, I'll just look for products, because in this href attribute there is products, right? I'm asking the tag name attribute equals to value. I'm using regular expression, so I can use subtext of that href. Okay, it says 2 element matches, but by default it will select the first element it found. The first element we have is the products here, so no worries, it will identify that. So driver dot find element click. Okay, so we have done 3 steps. Hitting the URL on the mobile browser, selecting that hamburger menu and selecting products icon, right? Let's run here and see if this is working fine as expected, and then we can continue for further validations. So make sure your Appium server is started before you run, and also verify if your emulator is successfully open and ready for invoking your test, and then go ahead and run this test. So you can monitor the logs actually here to see what exactly it is trying to do. You see, it's opening the Chrome browser, it is hitting our URL, and then it clicked on hamburger menu, and also it clicked on the products. So we successfully landed on this page, and now you are able to see product list in your mobile. Okay, so we have automated until this page. But you see, all these pages automation we directly done from our web browser only by toggling our browser setting. So that is the beauty. So earlier, when you don't have this feature, 3-4 years ago, people used to come and see how that is loading in emulator. But thanks to Chrome, with this feature, you can now directly see everything like how it looks on mobile. Okay. So if you run into any issue while running this mobile browser test, let me show you. There are some instances that you may run into issue like Chrome browser compatibility. Now you can see that if you run into error like no Chrome driver found that can automate this, so that means the Chrome browser what you have in your emulator and Chrome driver what Appium have is mismatch. Okay, so when you download Appium, it gives you one Chrome driver to help you to execute tests from the Chrome browser, but your emulator or your real device have another Chrome browser version. So that Chrome browser version may not be compatible with the Chrome driver what your Appium jars have. So if you run into mismatch like this, then what I suggest is read out the logs. You have to update your Appium Chrome driver to the version what you have in your emulator. Okay, so because you want to automate Chrome browser in your emulator, so that means you need to have the Chrome driver which supports this Chrome browser version, but your Appium may have some other version. So to bring that compatibility, here it clearly says that found Chrome bundle in your Android, this is the Chrome browser 83. Okay, in my emulator there is a version 83, but Appium is giving me 86. So what you can do, go to this path. In Mac you will see path like this. In Windows you will have another path that you can get from your Appium server logs. Okay, if your test is failed, then go to Appium server logs and see where exactly your Chrome driver is located, and go to that location, delete the existing Chrome driver. This is the existing Chrome driver what I have for Appium in my system in this location, Mac/Chrome driver. So this is version 86. Go and delete this. You go and delete this version, and you see what version your mobile is supporting. That version Chrome driver, download and place it in this path. You have to do this to make this work. Okay, or you can update your Chrome browser in your mobile to suitable for your Appium, but that is tricky and require a lot of steps to do that. Instead, you can just blindly see what is your mobile Chrome version. That information you have already here, found Chrome bundle. Go and download Chrome version of 83 and put it here. In your case, it could be 95 or 96, whatever, when you are watching this video. But read the logs, go to that path and delete the existing and replace with the version of this. If you don't know where to find Chrome driver, I will show you. Just type Chrome driver download in your Google history, and you see here are the different Chrome versions and the respective drivers are present. You can scroll down that if you need 83, 85, 90 or whatever, and you can select it to go to that respective page and you can download it. Okay, so that's how you can bring the version and replace it if you run into error of compatibility of Chrome versions. If you don't run into that error, then this should perfectly pass without any issues. All right, now in the next lecture, let us continue our execution because we have automated until reaching this point where products are displayed. But after products are displaying, we have to scroll down our app to this level and then identify this DevOps. So I have to extract this text and see if it is equals to DevOps or not. So now we have to scroll down our product list page to this product and we have to choose this title, right? We have to extract this title and we need to put assertion to see if this title equals to DevOps. So first thing what we have to do is a scroll. So if you remember, we have already handled in previous lectures when we are dealing with Android apps on scrolling and swiping, right? We did this with the help of JavaScript executor. Okay. So if you remember, or if you revise my previous lectures on Android apps, I have shown you how to scroll, swipe and pinch using JavaScript executor. So here also let's apply same logic. Even to scroll on mobile browsers, you have to still rely on JavaScript executor. So let me create object of JavaScript executor class equals to, basically you need to cast your driver to JavaScript executor and create an object out of it. JavaScript executor. Okay, so move your cursor and import JavaScript executor package. Right, so JS dot execute the script. What script you have to execute? You have to scroll the window of the browser, right? Okay, so even if it is a web or mobile, the window is a common for browser. So that window you have to keep scrolling down, isn't it? So right now when you land on this page, you will be like this. So you should scroll down the page. That means scroll down this window completely. So that script we are executing. Okay, so to scroll down in JavaScript, there is a concept called window.scrollBy. And if you want to scroll from 0 to let's say 1000 coordinates, then up to 1000 coordinates, it will be scrolled down. Okay, basically this is a JavaScript which will help you to scroll down. To execute JavaScript in your Java test, we are depending upon JavaScript executor. Okay, since this JavaScript executor can execute JavaScript in your Java. So we have JavaScript of scrolling down. So that's why we created object of JavaScript executor and we requested to execute script of this JS. Okay, and that's it. So here we don't need any argument because in this point we are just asking to scroll, that's it. Okay, perfect. So this step will help you to scroll. Now if you wonder why we are using JavaScript executor, I hope you are clear. So this may be your interview question as well. What is the purpose of using this? Then you could just say like this: if there is a scope of injecting JavaScript in your Java, we can do that with the help of JS executor. Okay, because browser is developed with JavaScript language. So if you want to scroll down the browser, you have to talk to the language which browser understands. So that's why you are pushing the JavaScript. Okay, so the browser engine back rendering is with JS only, right? Okay, so next thing, you want to get object of the third product. Okay, so this is our third product, right? DevOps. And if you look at here, this looks a little tricky because there is no ID which will help you to reach this page. Let's write XPath for this. Step by step, I'll show you how to write XPath. List group item. So totally there are 3 list group items, I think. For second product also there is 1 list group item, and for third product also you have 1. Yeah, but we need third one. So what I can do, / tag name, I'm writing XPath here, @ class equals to what is our class name? List group item. Okay, so if I hit an enter with this, I will get 3 elements found. So I want third one, right? So wrap up your entire XPath in brackets and say I need the third index like this, and hit an enter again. and perfect. Now it has successfully highlighted third element. You see only one element matching, which is a third one. So you reached here. Okay, so from here you exactly have to reach this point. So with your XPath you reach this point. Now if you minimize, from here you have to jump into this HTML. So from parent to child traverse you can do /tag name. So with this XPath you will reach here. Okay, so inside again there is another one. If you see, from this dev you have to jump to another dev, which is this, and from here you have to jump to this DevOps. You see, when you are here it's highlighting in the mobile. You see that DevOps is getting highlighted. So right now you are at this point, so you have to do one more traverse /dev/a to reach this DevOps. I'm just showing you how to do this with XPath, because until now we are doing CSS only. See, when I hit an enter, it perfectly matches that DevOps. I can highlight and show you. You see, DevOps is highlighted. So this is our XPath. So driver dot find element by dot XPath. So we need to get the text of that particular locator, right? Because we want to know if that is DevOps or not. So we are extracting the text present in that locator with the help of getText method. So I am carefully storing that text into one variable called text. So now I will write an assertion, say assert dot assert equals, okay, equals this. I think I don't have testng jar, that's why I'm running into this issue. Let's fix this. So move your cursor and import assert of JUnit. So you can either use JUnit or testng. So soon I will talk about testng and how to get that framework into our classes. Okay, so this is not the right package of JUnit. Import org.junit.assert. Perfect. So this is the text what we retrieved, and the actual is the DevOps, right? So we are just comparing if the text what we retrieved from the browser is matches with DevOps. Okay, so let's run this test. Java application, and make sure your emulator is on. You see, execution started and it scrolled down successfully. If you see the page, it's very fast. Okay, initially it will be like this, right? But it scrolled down and it has shown DevOps, and your test also should pass now without any issue. You see, there is no error reported because both are matching. If you mess here anything like DevOps 1, and now if you run, it will fail. Okay, let's see. Now it should report as a failure, and at the same time we will also monitor how the scrolling is happening. It's very fast. So we hit on landing page, click on that menu. Oh, it's quick that we scroll down from actual page to bottom, and then you should see an error now, which is obvious because it is expecting DevOps, but you gave DevOps 1. Okay, so this is how you can work with a mobile browser automation. So hereafter it's all Selenium, guys. So until you invoke the browser in mobile, all the configuration what you need I explained, and also I explained how to inspect the mobile browser objects also by toggling your device toolbar. Okay, these two are important things. Once you are familiar with these two, rest all is the normal Selenium code what you do for web browsers. Same thing, you can write a code, but make sure that kind of elements are showing up in mobile browser also. Okay, this is the setup you require to get started with Chrome browser in mobile, and the rest is all your floor to play around just like how you did with Selenium. But I will give you one assignment here. Now, when you access facebook.com, in browser it says facebook.com, but in mobile it will say m.facebook.com. Okay, so I want you to start automating this. Try to click forgot password and try to give your username, or just play around this Facebook icon, and that way you will get some confidence on automating mobile apps. I'm specifically giving this because the code base is different for mobile browser and web browser. Okay, so now if you try to inspect it on the web browser, you will get a different UI, right? Let me show. You see, this is the UI for a web. So in mobile, this is how it looks. Okay, so try to automate that in the mobile browser. Just do some normal validations for login and forget password. That way you will get confident on automating this. Alright guys, so that's pretty much about mobile browser automation using Appium in Android devices. Thank you.